Most folks know what they dream about and what they want. And yet they're spending all of their time and energy arguing against what they want. I hope that when somebody listens to our conversation and watches this, that they have a massive aha moment. But it's not gonna mean fucking shit if you don't take action and do something about it. The aha moment is the door that opens, but your new life does not begin unless you fucking step through the door. And that's the problem I want to attack right now, that there is somewhere in your life that you know what you want, you can feel it pulling you, and you are actively arguing against it. You're bringing yourself down, you're beating yourself out. Like, people will cheer for you and me, they won't cheer for themselves. I'm the same way. And so this Uber driver, the story that you're talking about, I get into the car and we start driving and I'm on the phone. I hang up the phone and this Uber driver comes alive. He's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're in my cab. I have a dream of being an Oscar-winning actor and creating opportunities for other Black and Latino men to do the same in acting. And I'm like, freaking fantastic. What the fuck are you doing in Dallas, right? And so we have this whole conversation where I am actively arguing for his dream, and he is actively arguing against his dream. And then you are going to find yourself not at 25, but at 45 or 65, and you're going to be so filled with regret that you never fucking put a bet on yourself. I find myself in my bathroom one morning in my underwear, and I am having this spiral of negative thoughts. I look like shit. I don't know how to fix this. I wish somebody would solve this for me. And as pathetic as it sounds, I found myself just raising my hand, just in a way to basically be like, shut up, Mel, come on, girl. You like, put your shoulders back, lift your chin, you got this. You can do this. And something shifted. When you start to have a moment with yourself, the crazy part is you start to build a partnership with yourself. So we all think, like, we've all been raised like, tough love, hard on myself, this, bullshit. The research is clear on this. Being hard on yourself is not fucking motivating. It's demotivating. The most motivating force in the world, on the planet, based on research, hands down, is empowerment, encouragement, support, and celebration. The group of kids that got a simple high five outperformed, outworked through all of the challenges, all of the other forms of praise. Because a high five is something deeper than praise. It fulfills your most fundamental needs as a human being. When somebody high fives you, you feel seen, you feel heard, and you feel like somebody has acknowledged you for the unique person that you are. You are withholding the very support, empowerment, and celebration that you need to change and to do the hard work and to face the things that you're scared of. And that's why you're not changing. Because if you can't stand in front of the mirror and raise your hand and high five yourself just because you got your ass out of bed and you're breathing, you will never get what you want in life. There is something in the resistance to it. And if you unpack the resistance, you will find the reason why you don't have what you want. You either think you're not worthy of it, or you think that it's kind of stupid. But you know what this high five habit is showing me? I still have me. I can have my own back. I can be here for myself. The world has told me and convinced me that I can't, but every morning when I stand here and I stare at myself in the mirror and I raise my hand in defiance of all the shit that's happened to me, I keep going. Jealousy is one of the most powerful directional signals on the planet, because you're only jealous of people that are doing things or have things that you actually want. It's impossible to be fake jealous. Instead of stewing in it, go, oh, flip it. That's interesting. I wonder why I'm jealous. how could I take those things that I'm really now really inspired by and take action and go get them in my life? I guarantee you, back to the Uber driver, he's jealous of all the other actors earning Oscars because he's so inspired by the thought of doing that in his own life, but his insecurity is blocking action. His fear is blocking action. So instead of it being inspiration, it shows up as jealousy. If you've been sitting around waiting for somebody to discover you, to pick you, to save you, to rescue you, to give you your shot, it's not fucking happening. Like, at some point, you gotta wake up and realize when you're 18 and you're out of that house, you have to parent yourself. Your life is your responsibility. I have to be able to figure out how to make myself happy. When you're responsible, when you're the driver of your life, when you're not looking out to anybody else to fix it for you, can you ask for help? Of course, but the buck stops with you. You're the one that has to do the work. You're the one who has to push your own ass. You're the one who has to figure out what makes you happy. You're the one who has to figure out and become self-aware about what you need. And then you're the one that has to find whatever it is, the courage or being humble enough to ask for help. Even if it's asking for help from the biggest ally that you have, which is the person staring back at you in the mirror every damn morning. Most people aren't obsessed with their goals because they don't believe they're worthy of them. It's easy to dream about what you want, but in between where you are and what you want, there's a tremendous amount of stuff you got to change and do. And if you don't, at some point, be defiant against what the world or your caregivers or your past experience has pounded into your brain incorrectly, unfairly, you will forever be stuck with that story. You are not responsible for what happened to you, but you do have a responsibility to heal yourself and to do the work to change so that you can be the happy, fulfilled person that you were born to be. You can have nothing and you can still have your own back. You can have tremendous problems and very real obstacles that you're facing. And you can have a mindset that says, through my efforts, my attitude, I can have an impact on the situation that I'm in. That's where it begins. It begins with you. Self-confidence, self-love, self-esteem, self-reliance, self-awareness. It all has the same self. You have to give yourself those things. You want validation? Give it to yourself. You want to be cheered for? Give it to yourself. You want to feel supported in life? Start by giving those things to yourself, because the most important relationship that you have is the one you have with yourself, and you work on it the least. You got a choice. Do you take yourself down or do you lift yourself up? Are you going outside of yourself or are you coming back in for what you need? But here's the thing. Once something's important to you, it never leaves your mind. If you always dreamt about being a singer-songwriter and you never did it, you will be haunted by that at the age of 70, because it's still right here, stored in the back of your mind. It's something that's meant for you, that's trying to call to you. You see, your dreams, you either pursue them or they fucking haunt you. So when I was a senior in college at Dartmouth, it was 1989, my parents came to see me and we went to this mill in Vermont, and I walked into this famous mill called Simon Pierce, and there in the restaurant on the wall was this massive painting, Tom. I saw it and I immediately was drawn to it. I believe that what's meant for you is trying to reach you. And for whatever reason, in 1989, as a 21-year-old person, I'm like, I am going to own this painting. This is important to me. I have a full body sensation. I lean forward. Oh my God, it's $3,000. Not today, not today. That's it. I go back, I have dinner. So this painting imprinted itself on me. And for years, I would think about it. Now my life goes on, almost a decade passes. I get married to my husband, Christopher, and we're going up to Vermont, but my painting's gone. But there was something about this painting. I kept an open mind. I believed it was possible. So a couple more years pass, I turn 30, but I pick up the phone and I call the mill, and I'm like, I would like to buy a piece by Gil Shepard. I say, by the way, there was this one piece. And I describe this painting as best as I can remember it in full detail. We go to the mill, we meet her and her husband. She's a phenomenal. We're walking around. And Tom, as we're walking around and people are coming up to her, I'm realizing I'm fucked. Like, I can't afford any of these paintings. And we sit down and she says, now that we're sitting down, I have something to tell you. And she says, there has only been 2 times in my entire life that I have done 2 studies of the same scene at the same time. Your painting is one of them. It's a pair. And the sister piece to the painting that you saw all those years ago is sitting in my studio, where it has been waiting for the last 11 years for you to come looking for it. And so we drove down the road and we walked into her studio, and there on this big easel was the sister piece to my painting. And it was the most exquisite moment of my life. It was like time collapsed. And I was standing in that mill in 1989 saying, this would be mine, with every fiber of my being believing it was true. And 11 years later, standing before it. And then, of course, I'm like, oh my God, I can't fucking afford this. And so I say to Chris, you know, I just promise me you'll buy me this someday. And so he turns to Gail and says, hey, Gail, how much for the big one? And she said, well, Mel can have it for $500, because clearly when I was making it for her. And it now hangs in my kitchen. And it is a reminder that your mind is designed to help you get what you want. You just have to be willing to believe it's possible.